Well, we got a little bit caught up this morning exploring some new roads that we'd never been down before. So we're getting into camp a little bit later than I would have liked, but it's alright. We found a nice little spot to set up the hammock, set up camp. Gonna cook some food. It should be good. We're gonna throw the tarp over this, and someone in the comments asked me the other day what I thought the perfect tarp was for one person, and I told them the 10 by 10, and I'll stick by that. If for one person the 10 by 10 is perfect, a 3 by 3 meter depending on where you are. The reason being is it's just big enough for one person, and because it's a square, it's symmetrical, it's much easier to do a bunch of different configurations. The one exception to that being is if you do a lot of hammock camping. When I'm hammock camping, I find I prefer the 13 by 10 because it adds a bit more coverage. You can drop the sides down further. It helps protect you from the wind a bit more because you're sat up higher in the air in the hammock. And the other exception to that is if you're over 6 feet tall. I'm 6 foot tall, and I found sometimes with the 10 by 10, a couple of the configurations that I do. Once you start to, it might be 10 feet when it's 180 degrees when it's flat, but once you start to reduce that angle, you know, Pythagorean theorem, take you back to algebra class whenever you thought, I'm not going to need any of that algebra stuff. When am I ever going to use this? Well, tarp camping. Tarp camping, it's coming back to haunt you. But yeah, once you start to reduce that angle, obviously the space underneath gets less, and for me, I've found with the 10 foot by 10 foot tarp, with certain configurations, my head or my feet will actually be touching, and then if you get condensation, it starts to get wet, you know. So a 13 by 10, if you're over 6 feet tall, is probably a little bit better for you. So like I say, when I'm setting up my hammock, I like to do the 10 feet side parallel with my ridge line, and the longer side, the 13 foot side, perpendicular to it. That's given me a pretty nice area. But what I'm going to do is take this one and just throw it over. Just throw it over like that for now, because one thing, when you tie off your hammock like this, when you tie off your tarp, especially if I do it out here, you just walk into it and you're like, what was that movie with Sean Connery and Catherine Zeta-Jones? That's what it feels like. So it's just easier to do this for now, and then when I go to bed I can throw it over and tie it off somewhere, and that way I'm not worried about it when I'm moving around camp. I have this great little fire pit out front here. I've got some venison burgers to cook tonight with some bacon. I brought the little grill. Holy Moses. My bag fell over and scared me. I'm jumpy these days. I am jumpy. Oh my gosh. But I also brought all my different stove options to sort of show you guys. I ended up picking up a new one for this trip I'm taking. I just wanted to go over it in case anyone was looking at stoves and wanted to know which one, you know, is going to suit which person. So I'll get them out now and we can take a look at them and I'll show you. So this is the cook system I ended up picking up. It's an MSR wind burner, 1 litre system. Comes with a 1 litre pot, and then obviously it has the stove system inside it, and then it has an attachable bowl like this. I'm dropping it already. My other stove that I've always used is this little one, a BRS titanium stove, and it literally weighs nothing and it's cheap. I think it retails for like somewhere between $15 and $25. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what I paid for it. Like I say, it's tiny, it's lightweight, and it weighs nothing. Both these systems are obviously gas stoves. This one is obviously a lot heavier than this one, but for this one you also need to bring a titanium cook pot. But even with the titanium cook pot, it's still lighter than this. This is the gas stove that I've always used because it's so lightweight. But I've mainly used it around here, where there's obviously a lot of woodland and it's a bit more sheltered. The problem with this stove is it's kind of inefficient. Even though it's lightweight, if you are somewhere where you're going to be exposed to the elements, you're going to be using a lot of gas. Obviously, this is what's called a finite resource. It's going to run out, and then you won't be able to get any more in nature. So the reason I picked this up is because where I'm going at the end of the month is going to be more alpine, which means there's not going to be trees. It's going to be more grassy, going to be more exposed to the elements, and if the wind's blowing with this smaller stove, you're going to be using a lot more gas, and it's going to be a lot less efficient to heat up water and things like that. So in my opinion, personally, if I'm somewhere sheltered like I am now, if I'm in a tree line, a thick forest, I can collect up some sticks, I can build a little, fireplace around this stove. This would be my go-to because it's much cheaper. If I'm going somewhere above the tree line where there isn't going to be trees, maybe I'm out in the desert or somewhere exposed, I'm probably going to bring this because I don't want to use as much fuel and I don't want to have to bring more fuel with me. Now your other option obviously is a solo stove, a bush buddy, a twig stove, a gasifier stove as it's called. The nice thing about this, I like to bring this with me on canoe trips, multi-day trips, when I'm out in the woods, when I'm not too concerned about weight, because when you're in the woods, when you're in a situation like this, twigs are an infinite resource, that you're never going to run out of them. So it doesn't matter about how efficient or inefficient it is, because you can always pick up more sticks and keep putting them in here, and you're always going to have fuel for it. Obviously, price-wise, this is a little less expensive than this, but if you're in a wooded area, in a wooded setting, this is going to save you money on fuel, because again, you have an infinite resource in sticks and twigs, whereas this, you're still going to have to burn fuel, and you're going to have that repeated expense of buying more fuel, plus you're going to have to carry fuel with you. The other thing with this stove that I didn't realize I didn't know, and my buddy Chris actually showed me his, is you can get alcohol inserts for these. So you can put the alcohol in the bottom and light it that way and use the alcohol to heat your food and cook your water. So this actually, if you want to bring alcohol with you, but if you want to bring it with you on alpine trips, you can do it. So if you really want a one-stop shop and you don't mind getting the alcohol, this is a really good option, because you can use it in a forest like this and you don't have to bring gas, or you can just put an alcohol insert in it and take it out above the tree line into a more exposed area. So that's just a quick rundown on different stove options. I just wanted to bring them out to show people, just in case you were thinking about it and wondering what you wanted to buy. And like I say, it's all situational depending on where you live and what type of environment you're in. Tell you what, it's quite nice being at a big open campsite. Plenty of room to maneuver around. But I realised I only brought a pocket knife, I didn't bring my axe, I didn't bring anything to split wood with. I was trying to lighten my load a little bit this week. So I think what I'm probably going to do, I brought my frying pan. I have a little fire out front, not worried too much about it, just something, a little ambiance. Then I'm going to cook on the frying pan using the twig stove because there's plenty of twigs around, so that'll make life a bit easier. Well, bony apple feet, guys. It started to rain, so that sort of set in my mind to do the twig stove. But I made a little council fire, upside down fire. So once I've eaten this, I'm gonna light that and hopefully that should burn for a while. We'll see how it goes. Last time I did it, it didn't go too well, but it got going in the end, so we'll see. Right now we're gonna tuck into this venison burger. Delicious. Venison, double bacon cheeseburger. Let me hear you say wet, wet, wet. Wet, wet, wet. Harry! Me and the missus went to Jamaica once. We went to this waterfall place, and that's what they would say that every time they stopped to take a picture. Let me hear you say wet, wet, wet. Wet, wet, wet. And it is wet, wet, wet today. Started raining hard last night. I'm pretty sure it was windy at some point. I had the craziest dream where there was like a crazy storm going on, and I got out of the hammock, not in real life but in the dream. I got out of the hammock and I was stood, and all the trees were like blowing super hard, and I thought they were going to fall over and crush me, so I was like stood next to whatever tree I thought wasn't going to blow over, and like looking up, making sure nothing was going to fall on me. And then all of a sudden this huge wave came in and like swept my entire camp away. It was crazy. It was so vivid as well, so lucid. And then obviously I woke up and none of that had happened, but it was raining hard. And it's raining again this morning, so but that's good. We needed some wet weather. It's been kind of dry, kind of unseasonably warm for this time of year. You know, it's been like 75 degrees the last couple of days, and that's hot for this time of year. I remember my friend Scott coming to visit me when I first lived here this time of year, and it was still snowing, so yeah, unseasonably warm. Plus it gives me a chance to test out the old rain jacket before I go on this trip. I've had it on before, but I haven't tested it in the rain, so it's a good test to see how waterproof it is. But yeah, apart from that, pretty nice morning. Just gonna have my coffee, got some oatmeal. I'm gonna chill, enjoy the river, and then I'm gonna head home. So, you know, as always, thank you very much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, give it a like, and I will see you on the next one. Take it easy.